Greetings again with the Oral History Microphone. I'm Ray Mofield. We're broadcasting from the Cardinal Convalescent Home and Nursing Center at Possum Trot, Kentucky. And our guest for this next half hour is Mr. Joe Lofton. Mr. Lofton and his wife are both here. She's bedfast, however, and he's agreed to chat with us. Would you tell us when you were born, Mr. Lofton?
I was born in 93.
1893. So
Second day of August.
Yes, sir. You'll soon be having a birthday.
Yeah, the next few days.
Yeah.
Second.
All right, and were you born in Marshall County?
Oh, yeah. I've been here all my life.
And was it right around this neighborhood?
Yeah. Just a mile from Possum Trot store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been, when I lived with my family, when I was a boy, I was on up the road a little further than that, a little over a mile. But now my home is in Miles, where the old home is still there, part of the house.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If I live till next second day of the month, I'll be 92 years old. And I might say I've been in Possum Trot for 92 years.
Well, has it always been known as Possum Trot?
Well,
Ever since
that's
you-
all my recollection. All I can recollect about it is my wife's uncle. There's what we call Possum Trot, and part of it is what is called Frisky Ridge at that time. But anyhow, my uncle and some man was going along. There was an old schoolhouse there in 300 yards of my home now.
Yes, sir.
And there's a possum across the road. And this possum was slowing along, and they thought, well, he looked good, we'll catch him. And they started after the possum, and he said, we better hurry up to the other feller and catch him, he's a-trotting. And they caught it, and it went by Possum Trot.
That's a clever story. You know, Mr. Lofton, I remember, say, 25, 30 years ago, somebody started a movement to change the name of Possum Trot to something like Fairview.
Yeah, they failed.
Some sanitized, homogenized, modernized name like that. You know, there's a million of them.
Yeah.
And Possum Trot, though, as far as I know, is the only one in the world, and I'm glad they kept it just like it was.
Yeah, well, now that's where it originated. And my wife's uncle was the one that says they got the name Possum Trot. Yeah. But
Well,
now we come on down to the store, just a mile from where I live, my home now. That was called Leonard. Let me see if I'm right. Gravel Ridge.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was gravel, natural gravel there. Leonard, the old people was living
Yes, sir.
there, was on the place.
I know a girl named Betty Johnson from Possum Walk, North Carolina. She was a great singing star at one time, and had a big hit on the hit parade about 1955 or so, called "I Dreamed I Was the King of Spain" or something like that. Yeah, I recall doing a broadcast with her at DuQuoin, Illinois State Fair one time. And I told her we had a possum trot. She said, well, we have a possum walk in North Carolina. So, all right, what was your father's name?
George, G.W., George Washington.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you know a younger fellow about your age, maybe a little younger than you are, named G.W. Lofton? Is that he kin to you?
He's my boy.
He's your son. Well, what do you know about that? Well, that's great. He's been a tremendous benefit to this county. He's been president of the Farm Bureau. And
he had to go to Benton last night for something or another. I don't know what it was, but
soil conservation.
yeah, that might have been.
He helped organize that, and he helped get electric power for us through the REA. He's a great fellow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I met you. I've known him for a good long while. In fact, I've been to his house and eaten his wife's cooking. She's a good cook.
You bet she's a good cook.
He carries mail there.
And he's a mail carrier, and she did teach school. I think maybe she's
Oh,
retired.
she's plugged in now.
Substitutes.
Substitutes.
Mm-hmm.
North Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they call her every once in a while.
Yes, sir.
And
Well, that's very good. Now, your mother's name, who was she before she married?
she was a Hicks, Sarah Hicks.
So we had the Hicks family and the Lofton family, and do you remember anybody earlier than that, a grandfather on either side?
I remember my grandfather is the only one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember my own.
Wonder where the Loftons came from. Was it North Carolina, Virginia?
In North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah. There's a story behind them.
Well, you just tell us all you want to about it.
Well, I've been told that my great-great-grandfather they was trying him in North Carolina for killing a man. And they had him in the jail room or wherever it was at. And he jumped out the window and run off. And back them days, they never did come hunt him up. He come to Kentucky. And I don't know how long he lived or anything about that, his age journey. But there's where it originated from, right there.
Well, I can't blame him for wanting to live a little longer, can you?
No.
So, I guess a lot of us might be shocked if we had the full story of all of our ancestors had done.
That's right.
You go back to the Garden of Eden and find Cain killing Abel, can't you? Well, you were born here. What country school did you go to?
Howard's Grove, old Howard's Grove.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
There's, in
It was
fact,
in the woods.
in one of the old histories, I believe it's Freeman and Old's History of Marshall County, there's a whole section at the back on Howard's Grove.
Yeah.
And so you went to school there.
Oh, yeah. I spent the most of my schooling there. We split up when I was about 18 years old. And we had what we called the Plain View. We built a little school. George Ford, and a bunch got up and split the school. Got up a bunch and they split this school.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right again there. The schoolyard joined his place. And they built that school, the old Howard Grove School, and it was split.
Mm-hmm. Albert Harrell, I believe, married to Howard, did
Yeah.
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth Howard.
And there was a Joe Burt.
Joe Burt and them was, well, now I don't know just what their relationship was.
They might have been cousins or something.
Something of that kind.
I know Joe Burt had a sister named Laverne who taught here for
Yeah.
a good long while, and he has, I guess, the youngest child in the family teaches at Murray State University. She's now a Thurman.
Yeah.
And, all right, so you went to Howard's Grove and learned what did you like best there?
Oh,
Arithmetic?
well, arithmetic and history and geography.
Did you ever go to a spelling bee?
No, well, we had spelling matches every Friday nearly. Get out early, you know.
You liked that.
Yeah.
What did you do at recess?
Well, played ball and base and everything. You know, just
Yeah.
baseball.
Was your father a farmer?
Yeah, he was a farmer.
And you farmed?
Oh, yeah, I farmed. I made well, you'd call me a farmer, but I've been in Detroit and worked to get a little money to
Sort of
break
get ahead
over.
and
I,
get started on and so
that's
forth?
right.
Well, tell us about that. When did you go to Detroit?
In 26 the first time.
Were you married then?
Oh, yeah.
Who did you marry?
I married Angle. She was her mother was her own sister to Buck Boland, the man that caught the possum.
Oh, I see. Now I see the connection with the possum.
Yeah.
Well, how did you meet her?
Well,
You lay a trap for her somewhere?
no. I was in Paducah, and she was raised up here around Possum Trot, and well, right close to the church now, a Presbyterian church. And when she's young, but they moved Paducah and stayed there for years. And I was up at down at Paducah at the boat dock foot of Broadway. They was showing some stuff on the boat, and I seen her up there, and my cousin was with her, talking to her, and I asked her when she quit talking to her who she was, and it's love at first sight.
Well, isn't that a marvelous story? That is great.
And then
So you just brought that lady back to Marshall County.
well, no, they sold out. Now they went on. Her daddy was a railroad man, and they went out on the strike, and he never did go back, you know. And so he farmed. He had a little farm there, they did. And it's in the suburbs of Possum Trot.
Yes. All right, so you got married, you married an Angle, and I know you've got one boy at least, GW. Did you have any other children?
No other children.
All right, now let's get back to this going to Detroit.
Oh,
You did that to try to gain a little money and get ahead in the world, a little working capital.
I first went to Detroit in 26, or 27, it was, and I couldn't get a job. And I come back home, and the woman, she stayed, now my uncle stayed with my dad all of his life, Uncle Warren Lofton. And after Dad died, why, he come and stayed with me the balance of his life. And we had this farm together. Well, he never did marry, and me and my brother had had another farm in Altony, and me and my brother, he got the river farm and I got the home farm. And so when I went back in 28, and I got a job to work the next night after I got there. I worked 2 days over at the Briggs Mac plant, and I skinned my finger and I couldn't go back to do my job. And Labor Day was coming up, and I went down to Briggs's, or down to Packard's, and I asked about a job. And they said, come in Monday, for Labor Day, first Monday. Well, I went in and got a job, and I worked out enough money to pay my taxes, insurance, and my loan. And I come home, and I ain't seen Detroit no more.
Oh, that's a precious story.
Yeah.
Packard was a great automobile.
Oh, you
They
bet.
were the #1 fine car in America
Clean place to work.
at that time.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember that they were way ahead of Cadillac back then. And they made all, I remember one thing they did, they made all the hearses.
Yeah.
Packard Henney Corporation.
Yeah, I worked with Packards all the time I was there, except them 2 days, 2 nights.
All right, now were you farming more or less like typical West Kentucky farmer when you got back? You grew what, corn, tobacco, and had some cows and hogs?
Yeah, I raised cattle and hogs and milk cows, just a gentle run. But I finally wound up trading, and I made the most of my money trading. I could hire a boy to work my place, and him and my boy, they were taking the farm, and Uncle went on with it. And I bought and sold cattle, and I hauled them, loaded them at midnight, hauled them to Evingsville, and sold them to be there for market the next day. Sheep and a bunch, just whatever, wherever the market was. And I hauled them, and then I got in the country. Well, I just roved the country to see where I could find something and where I could
Yeah.
buy.
Well, that's good. So you had the benefits of country living and a place to come home to, and then you had 3 fellows there, a man you hired, plus your son and your uncle that carried on the farming work. Did they grow any tobacco?
Yeah, they grow tobacco.
That was a tough job, wasn't it?
The last crop of tobacco I growed, I bought another place adjoining the old house that I lived in was going down. And it was an old log house, with one box room on the end in the hall, and the kitchen, dining room. And so I either had to build a house, and a neighbor over there, he died, him and his wife, and they had a little farm with 50 acres in it, and a good house on it, and stock barn, and tobacco barn. I had to cover them, and I bought it for $1,325 at the courthouse door, the whole works.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved over there in '36 to that place from the old home place.
Mm-hmm.
Put me out to the Calvert City Road. And
So you had better access that
that's
way.
right. I had open road right out to, going out
Yes,
to
sir.
Calvert Road.
But you never dreamed then that Calvert would turn into one of the world's big chemical centers, did you?
No, I know one thing it done. It didn't, it wound up as a bad job, but I couldn't help it. We had to sell some land to get some money
Mm-hmm.
and clear up some mortgages. And we sold 100 out of this place at Altony, reached from that plank road over there, clean to the river front, down to the water's edge. And
You owned that at one time.
I owned that at one time. And I bought,
Today,
Mm.
that'd be worth $100 million.
well, I don't know, it's just plumb unreasonable what it'd be worth.
Yeah.
And I sold, we bought 76 acres at one time, and that was a big place that we bought. And then I bought, me and my brother, we bought 33 acres at another place right adjoining it that went on to the Plank Road. We
Yes.
owned that from there to the Plank Road. And so we sold it for nothing. And the last time it sold, it brought $39,000.
Now you couldn't buy it at any price.
No. Oh, it's got
Oh,
planks on it.
Got plants on it now.
Got big steel bills on mine,
Mm-hmm.
on my brother's part of the land.
Me. That reminds me of a poem that I learned when I was a little boy. Of all sad words of tongue and pen, the saddest are these. It might have been.
Yeah, it might have been.
That's from Maud Muller. And, the teacher used to make us memorize poetry instead of whipping us when we were a little mean.
Yeah.
And so that's how I came to learn all the poetry that I know today. I was pretty mean, and so the teacher made me memorize all those poems. Well, that's an interesting story. I never heard that before, Mr. Lofton, I guess because I'd never interviewed you before.
No.
But that's, all right, you can't look back on spilt milk. Now, you went ahead and you did fairly well, though, anyway, didn't you?
Well, we own 100, and me and the boy together, me with him, helping him, and him helping in the way, 245 acres of land. They're in a L shape. Comes out to the Calvert City Road.
That's right, good land, isn't it?
Oh, yes, got good bottom land on it.
Mm-hmm.
We got about 50 or 60 acres of hill land, but you ought to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I made it, put the lime fertilizer,
Mm-hmm.
and it was washed away, wore out raising tobacco.
Sure.
Yeah.
An awful lot of our land was in that
I'd
condition.
just love for you to see it today when it's green and pretty,
Mhm.
like it is early in the spring. And so we've done very well, but I tell you, it's went from here.
Yes, sir. Well, we have a little easier time, I think, making a living now than we had back in
Oh,
the 30s.
yeah, that's right.
When
It
I
was
can
rough
remember.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything was tough. Now, you'd bought the land for a fairly reasonable price, but what about paying the taxes on it? Was that pretty hard to do back then?
Yeah, I had to go to Detroit to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a dollar. And all the corn that I raised, we raised that year, the wife packed it out in her apron and fed 4 hogs I had.
Mm-hmm.
Sold them while I was in Detroit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Everybody worked, and they worked hard.
yeah, worked hard. I've had bad luck and I've had good luck. I call it. It is better luck than it is bad luck, or I've never had it. Yeah.
Well, what about Calvert City when you first remember it? It wasn't anything like as big a town as it is now.
Oh, Lord mercy. I can remember when Calvert City just had a couple of stores in it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's getting up around 2,800 to 3,000 people.
Oh, yeah, Calvert City was. When I'd go now, I had an uncle that married Paul's sister, lived in Calvert City after he moved off the farm. And I had him a farm. He sold his farm, and he come to Calvert and put up a store. And so he was in the store business,
Mm-hmm.
and he got in bad health and passed away. And she lived long as he did. And I forget but anyhow, he died first. Yeah.
Did you get yourself a car fairly far back in history? By the time you went to Detroit, did you have a car?
I bought one at 26,
Uh-huh.
little 26 Roadster,
Was a Model T Ford?
Model T, and I used it for a while, and it didn't do what I wanted to do, and I got me a steel bedding put on it, got me a cattle frame.
Made a pickup truck out of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I
good.
drove it.
You were ready to trade then.
Yes, sir. And I finally wound up with a 3/4 ton with a tall frame on it. As the last truck I owned, I got a trailer,
Mm-hmm.
horse or cattle trailer, pulled with the car. And I sold the truck, and I never did own another truck.
Well, we only got a minute or so left. Do you think of anything that happened to you that was your most embarrassing moment or the funniest thing you ever recall happening to you? Something maybe you want to tell before we go off?
Well, I don't know of anything.
GW never did embarrass you real bad, did he?
No, not that I know of. Glad to get to talk with you. And I've got a lot I could tell.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, we certainly appreciate your taking this time out in your busy day to talk to us. Good luck to you and your wife, and we appreciate coming to the Cardinal Nursing Home. What is the official name of this now?
It's Cardinal Health Care Center / Marshall County.
Yeah, Cardinal Health Care Center. I knew there'd been a little change here, and I believe now you're fully accredited and approved by all the associations and all that kind of stuff. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Lofton. This is Ray Mofield, and we return you to our studio.